Hey friends, today our adventure is actually very unique and very fun, and you'll be so amazed with what you see. Right now, it looks like we're deep into the woods, deep into a forest. If you could look around, it's quiet, there's lots of trees, lots of things growing, but actually, this is, and at one time was part of the farm fields where they actually had a lot of crops growing. And this tiny little parcel was the only thing of the wooded part. And over 35 years ago, somebody had a vision to buy some of this farmland that was for crops and convert it into their own private paradise. And we're going to take a peek at 4 of the different rooms, as you want to call them, or areas of this private paradise. This is the woods. This is the first part. There's lots of trails, and you can have golf carts and go all around through the woods. And now we're going to get in a cart because it's spread out, there's acres, and we're going to look at part 2 of this really cool retreat. Whoa, here we go. So, where we're going is to the wildflower fields. And we're going to look at 3 of the wildflowers that are growing right now because it depends on the season and what's growing. And up here, as we get out, you're going to see the most amazing area that it's really like a 5-star all-inclusive resort for bumblebees, birds, and butterflies, and all sorts of natural animals. So, over here is one of our first of the 3 wildflowers that was planted. Now, it's important to remember this. This was all flat farmland that actually had crops growing on it. So with this vision, they added soft slopes to give it a little bit more of a nice hill edge. And they had to treat and condition the soil and give it nutrients for things to grow. Our first flower that you're going to see, because it's all seasonal, is the coneflower, or echinacea. Now the coneflower is a perennial, and it is actually native to America. So this is a flower that's right here from the USA. The deer do not like coneflowers because of the stem. It's a very uncomfortable, the texture, so the deer don't bother them. At one time it was great for medicinal uses, but now it's a power pollinator. So all of our little friends just love the echinacea or the coneflower, which comes in different colors. If you have them in your garden, you do not need to deadhead them. That doesn't produce more flowers. It may clean up the look, but they will produce their own flowers and bloom on their own. So this is our first one. This is the coneflower. Now, as you'll see, there's lots of them popping up. And you'll also see a lot of little bird houses. This one's freestanding, and it is occupied. So no vacancy there. I just saw a lot of the little things, the twigs in them, so they are in use. Our next flower, we're going to walk a little fast because, oh, there's some over there, but we'll get into the shade area. And I keep thinking there's birdhouses in here. I thought I saw some at one time. I'm just going to walk through this beautifully tucked away area. And our next flower is called Queen's Anne lace. And you've seen it growing on the highway. A lot of people consider it a weed, but it has its purposes, like all of nature has. Okay, here's a little bit down here. I'm going to pick this and then we're going to keep walking. Queen's Anne's lace is also known as wild carrot because the leaves and the stem smell and kind of taste like the stem and leaves of a carrot. And they were used over 100 years ago in stews and seasonings. And I'll show you and tell you a little bit more about that. So here's some more over here. Now this Queen's Anne's lace, we're going to pop it. I just had to get out. Oh, it's so hot out. Woo. So you look at this, and what's so interesting is the little seeds were used over 100 years ago for seasoning, and they were a sweetener. So they were added to puddings and wines and anything that you wanted to add that little extra sweetness to. Now the top flower was actually battered lightly and fried. So if you want to try that, go ahead. Think you're going to need a little salt and pepper with that, but I'd love to know if you do it and how it tastes. So this is the Queen Anne's lace. Our third, come on back. We're going to go around here. Our third one, that's a power pollinator. And oh, somebody just loves this one. This is milkweed. And milkweed is making a huge comeback. It is so popular. It's like a 5-star dinner for a monarch butterfly. And as you can see, The monarch butterfly does not eat the flowers. They only, which is key, only eat the leaves. It's really important to know that. And with this, the milkweed spreads a lot. They get around. So if you're going to plant the milkweed, make sure you have a lot of space for them, because the next year they will pop up everywhere. But they're really important to have for nature. But they are perennial and they pop up everywhere and they grow. So let's go to our third field of this hidden retreat paradise. And I want to explain why it's so open, because it's important to really kind of understand that. So we're going to hop on again. We're not going to gun it so that I fly off. Okay, here we go. The next part of our little journey, this field right here doesn't really have anything growing. And the reason why, it was stripped of all of its nutrients when it was for crops only. But there, right in front of the car, there's a red flag, and over here is a blue flag, and there's some little pop-up gardens that have been neutralized. But you have your own private little golf area if you want to practice. There's 3 flags here. So this is just barren. You can do some nice fireworks, legal ones of course, out here too if you want. Now we're heading into the little apple orchard that is also still connected to the wildflower patch. And what a great way to pollinate pears and apples. And as we go through, this is so lovely. So many little animals just love to live here and eat here. This is one that I picked. It's still tiny. In a couple weeks they'll be big and beautiful. But I thought this was so adorable. So some of the little apples are turning red already. And all of these things, remember, oh, there's more Queen's Anne lace. We go to the left. You have to remember that this was flat farmland and everything was planted here. It was like taking nature back and adding to nature. So the last of the 4 rooms we're going to look at in this America's Garden, I would say right here, we're going to stop and take a peek of the pond, and this is man-made. And with this pond, there are bass in them. There's lots of bass in this pond. They are treated so well. If you catch them, they get thrown back in. They got a great life here. Oh, something just tripped on me. There's a little swing set over here. But if you come on down, also next to the pond, to the left, you have a little archery set up. So if you want some archery, you can come out here and do that. And behind the archery is a windmill that generates the electricity to the cabin. So you scan over, you see there's golf carts, remember there's lots of trails, and behind the umbrellas is a cabin tucked into the woods. Now remember, this is a private retreat. There is no internet. You can come out here and read a book, you can fish, you can swim, you can relax. It is perfect paradise. Friends, I hope that you were inspired. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you on our next journey. I love you.